Anyway, let's get into actual nerdy news now.
Let's.
Marvel are expected to use San Diego Comic-Con for films this year.
Yep.
And they're expected to save any TV show related announcements for D23. We kind of briefly spoke about this in DMs. It makes complete sense.
Yeah, and it's almost what we always thought they were going to do when they were doing both. We were like, oh, they'll probably save up more TV stuff for D23, but then they kind of mix the two.
Yeah. Because D23 is obviously Disney's only, like it's a Disney-owned event. Only talking about stuff that's going to make Disney Plus money makes sense.
Yeah.
San Diego Comic-Con is a bigger platform where the people who attend to that are going to love whatever you kind of give them or be interested in whatever you give them, but it gets more eyes, so give them the big announcements, give them the film announcements, give them the cast reveals. There's some heavy rumours based on some of the signage going up for San Diego Comic-Con that the Fantastic Four cast might be there.
I mean, it would totally make sense considering
we all know who they are now.
Yeah.
That there is a popular copium rumor that they might get the four of them to come out in costume.
I was going to say, they've often brought people out in costume.
And people are desperate for them to come out in costume.
That would be good.
It would
would be very good.
Wonder Man. The Disney Spotlight project that, like, even people like us who pay very close attention to stuff, we've been unsure if it's actually happening for a long time.
Yeah.
We did get confirmation 3 or 4 months ago that it was definitely happening. It's now reportedly wrapped filming.
Which is good.
According to Deadline. That means it was a relatively short production cycle, which hopefully means they know what they wanted to do and did it.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to have been really any leaks.
I mean, if it's
so we just got to kind of wait.
We know it's a Spotlight, and if it's like Echo, which was quite a short story, like set story, should have hopefully. And if they've done it similar like Echo, a lot of that was shot on location, which obviously does help speed up some stuff because there's less post-production. Yeah, hopefully whatever they've produced is good.
Yes. More Superman stuff. After this week, I'm not really going to talk about anything other Superman leak-wise. Which going to give this as the last kind of go-round, purely because of what I'm going to say at the top here. After this, unless it's something that isn't a spoiler but is just cool, or is zero risk of being a spoiler but is cool, we will discuss it. Additional set leaks for Superman give an indication of what we might expect. But James Gunn has assured us that nothing that has been leaked or is leakable due to it filming out in public is a huge spoiler. He's made it very clear anything that would risk spoiling anything would not be filmed where people can just watch.
Snap a picture, yeah.
Exactly. So a couple of the key takeaways. There was someone recording from an apartment or something of Mr. Terrific running down the street with like dog treats jumping up and down.
Yeah, I saw about this.
Someone apparently looked really closely at the pack of treats, and apparently it's a pack of treats used in the comics for Krypto, the Superdog. And another thing that adds on to this theory is in a scene he shot with Superman, he's got a bandaged up foot that looks like it's been bleeding. So the idea might be that Krypto accidentally shot him in the foot with his laser eyes. Krypto the Superdog would be lit. There's been lots of rumours we're getting Krypto the Superdog, and it really adds into this idea that we're going to get a Superman that is really grounded and like hope, positivity, a better tomorrow.
I'm all for Krypto. I hope they don't do full CGI dog the whole time.
Yeah, I imagine that'll just be, I don't know, it'll be difficult to tell.
Yeah.
It might be just a case of the dog wasn't on set because they're going to record the dog separately and superimpose the dog for that one.
Possibly.
And then whenever else they'll use a proper dog, but we'll see. Costumes for Hawk Girl, Guy Gardner, and Mr. Terrific all have a very similar style. People like the Mr. Terrific outfit. They do not like the Guy Gardner and the Hawk Girl outfit because they don't have a very traditional vibe.
Okay.
But what people have noticed is they all look basically identical, except for colouring.
Right.
And in the centre, under the jackets they're all wearing, they have the Lord Tech logo, which is the company run by Max Lord,
Right.
who's I don't know too much about him. I think he's a bit villainous. Or no, I think he's a villain, but in Justice League International, he was more grey.
Okay.
He did bad things, he did good things.
Got you.
So people are thinking this might be inspired by Justice League International, and the reason they have costumes that people aren't too happy with is because it's literally James Gunn going, yeah, this is corporations. People are claiming the way this is looking is almost like James Gunn fighting back against shows like The Boys that parody superheroes. He's like, yeah, you've made your corporate superheroes who take the piss out of actual superheroes. Now I'm going to give you a heartfelt Superman story where it looks like he's saving a child from a car and he's saving a puppy from a tree, and he's just going to be a good person, which is exciting. And a really, really cool thing that maybe they could have done for the Flash instead of what they ended up doing. Will Reeve, the son of iconic Superman actor Christopher Reeve, has been on set filming a cameo. He's reportedly going to be playing a reporter. I imagine that reporter is going to be reporting on like a sighting of Superman,
which would be cool.
It's a gorgeous moment. Christopher Reeve is the absolute fucking goat. Don't ever let anyone convince you otherwise. And it's cool that even though he can't do anything, his son can.
Yeah, like unlike what the Flash did, James Gunn respects what Christopher Reeve did and also respects the family in wanting to have them, like, include them in a way that also is respectful and doesn't try and, like, having his son do a cameo playing just a reporter or something is a much more respectful way than, like, being like, oh, have his son on to, like, use him as a base for a digital like, and do some weird flash. Like, he's not fucking around with any of that. Like, he's doing it in a respectful way to still, like, respect what his dad did and still include him, which I think is great.
Yeah. So that's all we're going to talk about for Superman this week. And unless, like I said, there's anything that seems relevant to talk about, we will leave it there just so we can try and enjoy the film as much as possible on the flip side. But my excitement for this film, every time I see anything about it, is just raising. I've got really high hopes for this film.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder has teased that DC have potentially greenlit a theatrical release of the Snyder Cut. Now, me and Horry disagree on a part of this. This is going to be one of them times where I'm hard-headed and I'm telling Horry he's wrong. It's fine, though. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. James Gunn has to have at least been okay with this. If he was staunchly against it, they wouldn't have done it. You don't risk pissing off your co-CEO by forcing him into doing something like this, especially when he's your creative lead at the same time. I'm not saying he would have been like, oh no, we should definitely do this, but I think he was at least like, yeah, it's not a big deal.
I think it's like execs want something released in the DC world. They know people, we want a Zack Snyder cut all the time. They'll see this as an easy money grab. I think not that, like, James Gunn disagreed, like, wholeheartedly. I think it was more a case of he's like, fine, you do this. I know my shit's going to be better. So it won't, in the long run, it won't affect it. But he might not be necessarily happy that is coming out because he'll know it still muddies the waters a bit, but he knows that his stuff is different and will stand out. So he's kind of like, probably would have said no if he had full control, but probably was put in a position of like, look, we're going to want to do this. And he's kind of had to take that bullet so that they don't fuck with his stuff later, hopefully.
Potentially.
But I do think this is like we need something to release. We need a money grab.
Regardless of what James Gunn's opinion on it, whether he's wholeheartedly greenlit it and he was happy to do it, or whether he was more on the backed into a corner, didn't have much of a choice, I think it's a bad decision.
Oh, yeah. It's just a money grab.
Yeah. Schneider fans have been a plague on the DC community, making it unbearably toxic. Don't get me wrong, people on the other side have kind of become incredibly toxic to try and counter them, making the whole thing worse. But giving into them like this gives it a bit more energy, it keeps that spark alive, and it just breeds more toxicity.
You're just going to get more people. All it does is keeps this whole notion of Henry Cavill was better Superman. No, it was better. Like, they're just going to keep going on about that now for longer because you've closed the gap between. We hoped that the DCU, when it stopped, last year was the last thing. We were like, okay, there's a good 2-3 year gap before DCU starts. This gives people time to kind of move on from that. Then they'll get to a point where they're like, okay, we're ready for the new stuff. This just like minimizes that gap. And it's like you say, you're just going to get this noise from the Zack Snyder fans carry on longer than it needed to, purely because they want money.
I think the only way it works is if it bombs its theatrical release because no one goes to watch it. And then it kind of gives DC the ability to go, you guys said you wanted us to restore the Snyderverse. We literally gave you a theatrical release and none of you fuckers turn up.
Do you know what I'd love is if when it comes out, James Gunn's like promo that he probably has to do is a case of like, this month Zack Snyder's cut's coming out. This is not my DCU. This is the old Justice League film. This is his vision for it. This is not my DC. Like, be very clear, this is not my DCU. And then people will go, oh, well, I don't care about watching that then because it's not the new stuff yet. Like, I think,
it's an interesting decision. Charlie Cox has praised Marvel for their open-mindedness during the redevelopment of Daredevil Born Again. Obviously, we know they kind of had come up with like a 20-episode series plan, and then that got scrapped, and they restarted. They brought back Foggy and Karen.
Yeah,
they did a lot of work. They brought in a lot of the people who worked on the Netflix series. I assume that's what he's in reference to. It's like they wanted to do their own thing. They decided they were going to redevelop it, and instead of getting stuck into what they initially had thought about, they were very collaborative, open-minded. They wanted to listen and get an idea. And he said, as a result of that, he thinks everyone's come out a lot happier than they would have been.
Yeah, I think because when it first got announced and there was like the rumor that there's no Foggy and there's no this, we were all a bit like, and I think the fans voiced that pretty well. And that probably
people were very adamant that Karen had to be back and Foggy had to be back.
Yeah, I think to some extent, obviously they're going to do what they want. This is Disney. They're not going to listen to the fans fully. But I do think that helped probably add on top of whatever maybe unsurety there was there already. And then like the fact that they were then open, brought in the Netflix writers, got some characters back, reworked it to be like, okay, let's actually be more faithful to what the fans are expecting. Yeah, it's good. Hopefully this is Marvel turning a bit of a new leaf going forward.
Absolutely.
Your favorite news?
The Watch Dogs movie has begun filming.
It has. All we got was a picture of the slate.
Yeah, I'm excited, but it's pure copium excitement. I don't have any reason to think this film will be good, but you're not going to stop me being excited for it. I'm going to turn up even if the trailer looks shit. Just in case. Because there's always a chance that you get pleasantly surprised. There's always a chance that it's a so bad it's good film.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. Like, would I much prefer it be like a masterpiece that I adore? Yes. Will I settle for so bad it's good and the kind of action film I'll go back and watch every 4 or 5 years just because, it's shit, but it's my shit? I will settle for that.
Yeah, I think the trailer will be... We said it when it was being discussed and we talked about it. The big thing for this film is if they sell the hacking aspect of it well. So it doesn't come across as goofy. Because that's obviously a big part of Watch Dogs and the world If in the trailer it comes across as very goofy, I'll be very worried for the film, and it'll be then leaning in that, is this going to be so bad it's good? If it comes across as like, this actually seems pretty cool, my hope will be there that it is actually a solid film. So we'll see.
Yes, but I'm excited regardless.
Yeah.
We got a Hellboy reveal for the new Hellboy film.
Did
coming
our
out
first
later this year.
look of our new Hellboy?
Yes.
Full gear.
As I said to you before we started recording,
Yeah.
with Hellboy films, I always feel like they actually do a really good job of nailing the look.
Yeah, they do.
And it actually ends up being the rest of the film you need to be worried about. Once again, it looks good.
The effects department and the cosmetics and whatever nailed it. Absolutely nailed the visuals and everything, all the prosthetics. So yeah, it kind of comes down to now, let's hope it's a good film.
Yeah, is the script good? Is the action good? Does it come out well? That's what we're waiting for now. And would it even be Cutscene Combos Nerd News Network without me shitting on a corporate decision that makes fucking no sense?
That or us talking about Max, good old Max in his room.
Warner Bros. And Paramount have expressed an interest in merging Max and Paramount Plus into a joint streaming service. They will name it Max Paramount Plus minus Divide.
It's so
that
funny.
Last bit was an ad lib.
That this has come after last week where we were discussing the fact that they're releasing shows on HBO to call them HBO Original on Max because they know how bad the Max branding is. For this to be coming out, it would not surprise me if this is their way of being like, this allows us to ditch the Max branding, and maybe they switch to like stick with Paramount Plus, or it's like HBO on Paramount Plus or something like that. There's just, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if this is their way of being like, that was a bomb of a relaunch. This is our best exit strategy away from that brand.
Yeah,
positive for us if this happens. Paramount Plus is very easy to get in the UK, and we might actually get to watch some Warner Brothers stuff.
Hopefully this merge is actually just like a business agreement where they're like, we'll use each other's infrastructure.
Yeah, maybe.
So that it just gives the rest of Europe like access to Max.
Yeah.
Which sucks, so I don't want to give them money, but they do have stuff on there that I want to watch.
Yeah.
Crazy.